Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Class Dismissed. This is going to be doing a deep dive into the problems that are going on over at Bungie with their profit loss misses, and obviously they're having to lay off 8% of their staff. And there's a lot of reasons for this, and this is what this video is going to explore. So if you're coming in from the name of the title, let's set up some context. I'm going to actually run two clips back to back. First, we're going to jump in with Lono for a little bit, and then we're going to go over to Elon Musk, and then we'll come back to some of my thoughts, and maybe we'll jump back into Lono. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. If you do, hit that like button, but take it away, Lono.
It sort of becomes you are either on my team or you are my enemy. And when you start telling your customers that they're the enemy, they might take the posture of an enemy. Like, look at the toxicity from the community. It got so bad they stopped interacting with the community. We've seen a lot of that lately. We've seen a lot of these people, all of a sudden, instead of talking about gaming, they want to talk about super serious issues and wag their finger in their audience's face. And it doesn't go very well. It's not a very commercially savvy idea to basically tell your audience, you're either with us or you're against us. It's like, only the Sith deal in absolutes, and for that reason, I'm out.
Now, if you guys want to see more from this discussion, I'll include a link to Lono's live stream in the description of this video, so be sure to check it out. But something else was also going on around the same time as all this was unfolding over the last couple days. Elon Musk joined Joe Rogan on the podcast to talk about why he saw and what the need was to purchase Twitter. And I thought this was interesting, and I think it applies to what we're talking about in this video.
What was it ultimately that led you to make the decision to do it?
I mean, this is going to sound somewhat melodramatic, but I was worried about that it was having a corrosive effect on civilization. That it was just having a bad impact. I think part of it is that it's where it was located, which is downtown San Francisco. And while I think San Francisco is a beautiful city, and we should really fight hard to kind of right the ship of San Francisco, if you've walked around downtown San Francisco, right near the ex-FKA Twitter headquarters, it's a zombie apocalypse. I mean, it's rough. Have you been in that area?
Not lately. No. Yeah. I've heard.
It's crazy.
I've heard it's crazy. I've heard you really can't believe it until you actually go there.
You can't believe it until you go there. So now you have to say, well, what philosophy led to that outcome? And that philosophy was being piped to Earth. So, a philosophy that would be ordinarily quite niche and geographically constrained, so that the fallout area would be limited, was effectively given an information weapon, information technology weapon to propagate what is essentially a mind virus to the rest of Earth. And the outcome of that mind virus is very clear if you walk around the streets of downtown San Francisco. It is the end of civilization.
And it's not just propagating the mind virus, but suppressing any opposing viewpoints.
Yes. Well, in order for the virus to propagate, it must suppress opposing viewpoints. So,
because it doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, you've felt the virus.
Yeah.
Yeah. People will try to cancel you so many times.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we should start to unpack about these two ideas. You're either with us or you're against us, as well as the mind virus that has been running rampant throughout social media. And you can call it woke. I tend to call it Marxist. But at the end of the day, it's all about division, dividing us, getting us fighting each other, as opposed to standing up to the powers that be, that rule our lives. At least that's my belief system. I also believe that I should treat everybody with human dignity and respect. I should love everybody, and I should pray for my enemies and pray for those who persecute me. And so that is something that I take on each and every time. So as we step into this conversation, as we start talking about some of the mistakes that Bungie has been making, I think essentially one thing I hope that will be clear in a go-forward entertainment world: I don't care what you believe. Stop making it all about what you believe. Make entertainment, make art, make these things that we can enjoy that gets us talking rather than getting us fighting at each other's throats. And that's one of the key aspects, my biggest concern with what I see what's going on in today's society. People are all about trying to get those internet points by dunking and quote tweeting and taking things out of context versus actually sitting down and having a deep understanding. I think that's ultimately should be celebrated. I wish the algorithms worked, rewarded the people going and seeking more information as opposed to the quick fix of dopamine that they are today. But that being said, I know Bungie has made a lot of missteps. One of the things that really frustrated me the most recent is their disrespect to both the Spanish language and heritage, the Latino with their whole language. We've seen Spider-Man actually do this various thing, and you might think that it's not a big deal, but I speak as a parent, as somebody who knows how just easily influenced kids are. I think we should just protect the kids. I think it's a simple enough solution to say, you're an adult, and honestly, I don't care, nor do I want the responsibility or power to have any impact on what you decide to say and do with your body. It's your body, it's your life. Go live it. That's awesome. That's what I want to do. That's, I think, a good thing. I think when we look at our principles as a nation here in the United States, these are things to be celebrated. But when you start to say, hey, I want to take this mindset that I have and I want to expose children to it. There's laws that protect children from advertisements, but there's not laws that protect children in as of a degree as what they need. So it takes an extra level of effort, an effort from myself as a parent, but an effort that I also take upon myself as a creator to create the Is This Safe for Kids series of videos. Bungie was safe for kids, but they are no longer safe for kids now. And that's unfortunate. I think a lot of this has to deal with, and the reasons why I think we're seeing more people talk about this, is to deal with the good game armor cracks that have been exposed. I asked Lono about this, and I'm going to play his full response to my, my statement here later in the video, but also I'm going to link to his full live stream where he goes into way more awesome detail. Now, he plays it, I think, very, neutral. That's how he runs his content and his channel, very safe for work. I tend to lean in a little bit stronger. Maybe that's just the testosterone that I've been on coursing through my body, making me a little bit more in people's face about this. But this is a serious thing. It's not to hate on anybody or anyone's religious views, but it's to focus in on that the kids should be allowed to be kids, and there shouldn't be an if, and, or but about it. Anybody else who thinks that kids should be exposed to adult subjects and topics and ideas regarding gender and race and speciesism, which is something I've been seeing pop up as well. And maybe these are quote unquote niches, but that ties right back to what Elon Musk was saying about the mind virus and how it was easily being propagated throughout of Twitter, and one reasons why he thought about purchasing it, because he's right. Bad ideas have an impact, but what we're seeing that is that easily accessible and spreadable impact happening city over city outside of its normal phase. And we haven't yet seen the full collapse outside of where we're San Francisco, unfortunately, a once beautiful city, and hopefully one day it will be a beautiful city again, can return to prominence. Now, I get that there's a lot to unpack here. I get that there are various degrees of things that are good and bad. I don't look at this as a light switch situation as like, what Bungie's been doing. You're either for us or against us. You can completely disagree with what I believe, and that's perfectly fine. I respect you and love you for that. But what I want to try and just convey, especially from the mindset of a parent, as a father, as somebody who knows that kids should be allowed to grow up and then they can make whatever decisions they want, that's all I think that is needed. And I'd love to see these companies, especially within the entertainment. We're looking at Disney, we're looking at Bungie, we're looking at video games, we're looking at everything, and just say, you know what, maybe we should not have to sit here and lean so heavily into these social issues. I don't think it's going to be as simple as pulling the plug. I know that they're deeply ingrained in those thought processes and systems, especially where they exist in the world. But I think what you're seeing is that people are just saying, like, you know what, I'm going to just take my money elsewhere. And in a world where there's so many really great games to play right now, that elsewhere is looking pretty dadgum good. And so it lessens that burden. That addiction is easier to step away from and break. And I think it's essentially all kind of catching up with Bungie right now. So whether you want to chalk this up to go woke or go broke, which I don't think they're going to go broke by any means, but I do think that as a company, I hope that they sit here and say, you know what, maybe we just focus in on making these games and not necessarily on trying to make these social commitment standards where people are having to draw a line in the sand, deciding whether they want to take that step over it. But those are my thoughts. I'd love to know yours. Always keep the conversation in the description, in the comments, as as respectful as possible. I love you guys for being here, and if you feel like the video earns it, hit that like button. Check out the top link in the description for my Instagram challenge, trying to get over 1,000 Instagram followers as a part of this comedic journey that I've been on. And I'm going to leave this video out and let Lono kind of take it from here. I think he really said this very well. And again, his links are all in the description, so go check it out as well. But thank you so much for joining me. Now, take it away, Lono.
Bungie does like to poke the bear a lot and ends up upsetting whole communities, but they've always been protected by good game armor. Now that the cracks are there, they fill up quickly. I don't want to go down necessarily that road, but I'll take a glance at it, Ginger. I think, yeah. No, I'll say it. I think a lot of their virtue signaling and a lot of their social efforts, I think that shoved a lot of people away from their game as well. I think a lot of people were like, why are you posting a blog about this? You make a video game. I like your video game. My kids like your video game. And you're tweeting and blogging about very serious issues that are very divisive. So, yeah. We're going to stop playing, or we're going to play less, or we're not going to look at your Twitter anymore, or we're going to move on from your game. You start drawing lines in the sand, don't be surprised when people don't come across it. Are you trying to make a good game? Are you trying to make a game where people come in and play it for long periods of time and years and years and years? Are you trying to do that, or are you trying to draw lines in the sand socially? Which is it? You can't do both. I don't think you can do both. And I think they tried to do both. I think they started drawing lines in the sand. And they're like, there's no muzzle big enough. So we're and not at the company anymore. CMs getting in political spats with people on Twitter and no longer at the company. And no longer even having CMs publicly represent the company. They're putting everything through one Twitter account. I think they burned their hand on the stove. It was like, we're gonna virtue signal, we're gonna blog, we're gonna do this, we're gonna stand for these issues. And I think gamers were like, whoa, we don't care about this. Even if we do care about this, now you got me arguing with my clanmates about this? Hubris, we can change the world with our pins and emblems. I don't think I was ever more pleased to not have to cover that game full time when they started doing some of that stuff. Do you want to know why? I've never made my content about that, and it would have gotten brought right to my doorstep. What do you think about their blog and what they said? Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Jiminy Christmas. And then what do you think clanmates are doing? What do you think people are doing in party chats? What do you think people are doing on Twitter and Discords? They're all like either in agreement or disagreement. And what you're doing is you're creating division where there was never division before. It's like now all of a sudden you have people talking about things. It's like instead of being like, what's the best way to farm for this gun? It's what do you think about this super serious divisive subject? It's like don't talk about politics at Thanksgiving dinner. And they were like, we're going to literally brand political issues into the side of the turkey. You know what I'm saying? Like, I admire, at one level, I admire the passion. Like, you know, but it's a little foolhardy to think that gamers Have you ever looked at the demographics of gamers who play games like Destiny? Have you ever looked at the demographics of gamers who play shooters? It's not, I just don't think it's the crowd. I don't think it's the crowd for some of those subjects, man. That's all I'm going to say. Like, sociologically, like, if you just sort of study, you know, what do 28 and up men, what do 28 and up, you know, men think about these subjects? They either don't want to talk about it or they don't agree with you. Say it was risky. Now, again, I don't want to go down that road. That's me looking at the road. I don't want to talk about individual things they stood for. I'm not interested in that. I'm not. But I do think that when a company does that, it makes it very difficult for people to like hang in there and stay with them. Because when you couch things in a polarized way, it sort of becomes you are either on my team or you are my enemy. And when you start telling your customers that they're the enemy, they might take the posture of an enemy. Like, look at the toxicity from the community. It got so bad they, like, stopped interacting with the community.